Okay, we have a article here that is just simply wonderful. It's beautiful. It's revealing. It speaks the truth because it talks about the good and the bad. And it could get a little ugly if you are on one side of that. So the title of the article is SEC receives record number of whistleblower tips. The Securities and Exchange Commission, the SEC, in the United States received more than 18,000 tips from whistleblowers reporting violations of securities laws last year, meaning 2023. So as everyone can see here in the chart from Statista, based on the SEC's own data, this is by far the highest number of tips since 2012, or at least since they started keeping such information. So the SEC pays rewards to whistleblowers who make a decisive contribution to the discovery and prosecution of violations. So last year in 2023, a record sum of $279 million was paid out to an anonymous whistleblower, meaning one. A singular anonymous whistleblower was paid $279 million. This is more than double the previous record amount of $114 million announced in October of 2020. So the reward bonuses are likely to be an important building block for the success of the SEC's Office of the Whistleblower. So the prerequisite for the payment of the bonuses is that the whistleblowers provide information that leads to an SEC enforcement case of more than $1 million. The whistleblower law in the USA was created, among other things, after the exposure of Bernie Madoff's Ponzi scheme during the 2008 financial crisis. Since its launch in 2011, the SEC says it has paid out more than $1 billion to whistleblowers. In turn, whistleblowers' information has helped criminals to repay more than $4 billion in illegally obtained profits and interest. So, end of article. So, several things to point out here. Yeah, you need multiple parties to make this happen. You need the bad actors and you need the good actors. But the chart itself really speaks volumes about the fact that the law was passed, it seems, in 2011 in order for the whistleblowers, wherever they may be, to escalate and report up to the SEC and clarify that there's been some potentially criminal activity if they have that type of information from the whistleblower's point of view. Now, having said that, what really seems to be outstanding from this chart is the fact that the numbers increase year on year. So legislation was passed after the dust had settled in 2008 from the Bernie Madoff case and the global financial crisis at that time. And now this chart clearly shows that over the last 12, 13 years, there's been really an increase almost every single year. And there's been a grand increase since the beginning of the pandemic of these last few years of total number of tips that have been in receipt that the SEC is receiving. Now, correlation does not equal causation. Doesn't necessarily mean that all of these tips result in prosecution. Doesn't necessarily mean that all these tips result in a payout for the anonymous person. So it says here again in the article, it says the prerequisite for the payment of the bonuses is that the whistleblower provide information that leads to an SEC enforcement case of more than $1 million. So it doesn't clarify if a successful enforcement case. You would assume so. And then they use the word bonuses as opposed to just sort of reward or bounty. And then finally it clarifies, so if this launched in 2011, $1 billion has been paid out to all whistleblowers. And then it says that in turn, whistleblowers' information has helped criminals to repay more than $4 billion in legally obtained profits and interest. So not clear if the $1 billion that was rewarded to all the whistleblowers since 2011 was part of that $4 billion that was clawed back from those who had been doing illegal activity. But having said that, a very beautiful article in my opinion, because it speaks to one element where the government is incentivizing good faith actors to also basically get a plea deal, if you will, which is not the correct term, but they're basically able to rat on colleagues or superiors, or whoever it might be, who they believe are acting in bad faith and that are essentially breaking the law, Securities and Exchange laws, and then leading to prosecution, leading to perhaps conviction. We don't know. But the real question mark with this article is that the prerequisite for bonuses versus payouts or whatever rewards is that the whistleblower provide information that leads to an SEC enforcement case of more than $1 million. Well, what if it was $500,000? That's still a lot of money. So, interesting. I mean, a crime is a crime, even if you steal $1. So, um, it kind of should be, for the critique from my side, is that even if there were to be $1,000, there should be perhaps a reward paid to the good faith actor that's reported the theft of $1,000. But essentially, with government resources, it might not benefit the government to pursue such small money. So they had to sort of draw the line and create the floor at $1 billion because there's just so many large-scale crimes where other Department of Justice gets involved. So yeah, it might be a burden on the taxpayers to pursue the small fries, the small potatoes. Okay, interesting article. Great to read it. Great to share with all of you. Very revealing, this chart and the details just gone over. And there you go. Looking forward to reading more interesting articles about some of the good elements of law enforcement when it comes to white-collar crime and investing and the regulation of people's investments and funds and the government stepping in and punishing the bad actors.